What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. First of all, I want to say thank you to Al Heyman. Just watched the premier boxing champs live from Boston on NBC. Andre Dirrell versus James DeGale. And it was a super middleweight title fight. Hell of a fight. I love watching fights like this just because it's a high-speed chess match involved with skill. Like, I could watch slugfests and stuff like that, but the big difference is in a slugfest with two limited fighters, it's only a matter of time. Like Lucas Matisse versus John Molina, it got to a point where I could tell John Molina was going to lose based on the ebb and flow of the particular fight. But when you have two highly skilled fighters who know how to place shots, they have speed, athleticism, counterpunching abilities, different stuff like that, it makes it even more surprising and shocking because you really don't know what's going to happen. And that's what we've seen here. So shout out to James DeGale on his victory. He got a unanimous decision. Now, this on my channel, on my post fights, I give the good, the bad, and the ugly. I say this time and time again for the new subscribers. If you do not like this, if you want like a one-sided affair, then my channel is not for you. That being said, I'm going to break down the fight. I don't have all the round numbers memorized and stuff like that, but it was a very good fight involving two skilled guys. Now, the first round, I scored for Dirrell. The second round was looking like I was going to score for Dirrell, but he got caught slipping in a bad, major way, and he got counterpunched and caught with a beautiful left from James DeGale. James DeGale, who also packs a punch, and it dropped him. He fell hard too. It was severe, and he was trying to recompose himself. James DeGale, being aggressive, he rushed him and was able to get a second knockdown. So in a round that Dirrell was winning, now he got knocked down twice. Then from what I've seen, it looked like it took a couple of rounds for Dirrell to regain his confidence and like maybe his senses, because he still seemed a bit cloudy, and just, you hit the canvas hard and got dropped twice. Nobody's trying to get knocked out. So to me, I think James DeGale continued to look good, right? He continued to look good. And this is at a point where Dirrell didn't really have his senses or the full confidence to like press the attack. So he wasn't, he's being more economical and moderate with his punches. Now, what Dirrell does, and I said this, I didn't get to do an actual official prediction, unfortunately. This fight came really quick. And it's, I knew James DeGale was dangerous. I was leaning towards Dirrell, but I knew that James DeGale was a live dog. And it was anybody's fight. It was just that type of fight. Now, the thing that I noticed with Andre Dirrell is he has all the skills and ability in the world, but sometimes he gets like lulled to sleep. Even in this last fight, the dude that beat Badou Jack that he fought in Canada, in the 12th round, in a fight he was dominating, he almost got caught, or he did get caught. He just didn't get knocked down like he did in this particular fight. But sometimes it's like he gets bored and he becomes like lackadaisical with his offense and defense and with his actual skills. Instead of just staying on his toes for all 12 rounds, he seems like susceptible, and that's exactly what he got caught for. So again, beyond the two knockdowns, I think James DeGale was still aggressive, and somewhere, I want to say around the 7th round, let's say the 6th round. About the 6th round, I seen him let off the gas, him being James DeGale. So in my mind, I thought he was trying to bait Andre Dirrell into doing something, making mistakes. He was doing some unique feints and stuff like that. And I honestly thought he was just trying to bait him and catch him with like a big shot and close the show. But then round 7 came, and I don't know if he spent so much time trying to feint and catch his man and land the big shot, or what it was. Maybe it was fatigue set in from throwing all those punches and moving and trying to do the feints and stuff like that. But he completely let it go. You know what I'm saying? Like from round 7 through 10, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, he was virtually didn't do anything that he did in the first half, basically. So this was really a fight of halves. And honestly, he's lucky that he won, because this was a Premier Boxing Champs event. So you were the visiting fighter, right? This could have easily been scored a draw, because again, this was a fight of halves where he had 2 knockdowns early, looked good, and then he gassed out or fatigued or whatever the situation was, and he made it exceptionally close by not making some of those early rounds close. Then the last 2 rounds, I think Dirrell did good in the first part of the round, and then James DeGale did good in the second part of the 11th round. So that one's even a toss-up. And then the 12th round, I think James DeGale did more in that particular round. There wasn't as much offense from Andre Dirrell. But again, if he would have lost this, I cannot say I would be shocked or I would be surprised or even mad. A lot of people scream out robbery, robbery, robbery. But to me, I don't know what you guys think is a robbery, but a robbery to me is not an extremely close fight going to either person. That's what it was. It was a close fight. When I see a robbery, it's a fight like Richard Brill, Brandon Rios, where Brandon Rios, to me, had trouble making weight and virtually didn't do anything in that fight, and he lost. Richard Brill lost. Like, that doesn't make sense like that. But this was a very close fight. This was razor thin, and mostly because of the fatigue or whatever it was. Like, some people don't know how to judge boxing. They judge boxing off who was hurt more. It doesn't work like that. You can come back and get outworked. Like fights like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. versus Brian Vera. Okay, Chavez Jr. is big, so one can argue his shots had more effect on Brian Vera, but he was still getting outboxed, outworked by Brian Vera. So, you know what I'm saying? It's not all a matter of who gets hit the hardest and who cracks the hardest. It doesn't automatically secure you a victory. Also, look at Timothy Bradley versus Ruslan Provodnikov. I thought Bradley won, and it was because after the first 2 rounds, then Ruslan didn't do anything but a couple of spots. In, I think, round 6, he did good, and then round 12. But then he was getting outboxed the rest of the way. So, again, in boxing, it's not about just who gets hurt. It's about consistency, ebb and flow. And I think James DeGale almost had this one out of reach, and he almost let this one slip away by making it that close, by not, for whatever reason, he didn't have the conditioning or whatever it was, but he gave up a lot of those mid to late rounds, and then he kind of came back alive in the 11 and 12. So it was a good fight. But again, I really enjoy this. A lot of people were like, "Oh, Heyman boxing sucks and this and stuff." I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good fight. It was a good showcase of talent and skill. Didn't really know what was going to happen next. There was no, you can't say it was a robbery because the Heyman fighter didn't get the nod. The Matchbox Eddie Hearn fighter got the nod. So all in all, I'm definitely up for a rematch. This easily could have been a draw, not based on, if you want to talk about who was hurt, Dirrell was obviously hurt more than it looked like he hurt James DeGale. But again, he was still getting tattooed, and he was still getting outboxed and outworked in a lot of those middle rounds. I think there was one punch that Dirrell threw. It was a nasty, nasty uppercut midway through in the fight when he started to kick it up. And it was a fun fight, man. I would definitely entertain a rematch. I would definitely like to see a rematch, actually, because this James DeGale, had he closed a little bit stronger, like not just 11th and 12th round, but there wouldn't have been no type of argument or anything. Nothing anyone could have said. But I think he really gave up a lot of those mid rounds. But he looked good. He looked good in the spots that he did look good. And same thing with Andre Dirrell. A lot of people question his heart. He showed you heart in this particular fight. He showed you his counterpunching ability, his skills. He just has to tweak some things. Like, he was clearly winning the second round, and then you just gave that all up by backing up with your hands low and just stuff like that. So I'm all good with the rematch. The other thing that I didn't agree with was the scorecards were very, very wide for James DeGale. I don't think that really indicated the fight that I seen. I thought it was a close fight. And again, I'm not mad if James DeGale won because it was that type of fight. It was a close fight. But to say he won by the scorecards that they had, some of them were outlandish. But again, I would like a rematch. I wouldn't mind a rematch. If he wants to go straight away and fight at Andre Ward, we can have that too. See how Andre Ward, how the other Andre at super middleweight does versus James DeGale. These are all good fights, man. So I'm good. I'm good with this. You also have Badou Jack, George Groves coming up. So a lot of good things at super middleweight, and I'm excited. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.